So I didn't really even notice it, but 2 days ago there was a terrorist attack in my hometown in Halle, very close to Leipzig, and I just noticed it today, and it is really outrageous. I want to comment it a bit, because so what happened? A guy, it's said that he's German, but his name is kind of weird, Stefan Balliet or Ballier, sounds kind of French, I don't know, sounds weird. But this guy, it was Yom Kippur, a Jewish holiday, and a guy allegedly had self-made weapons, self-constructed weapons, and he went to a synagogue in Halle, and he tried to enter the synagogue and to kill the Jewish people inside. And apparently the media says that he had all these manifests, all these PDFs that he wrote, where he, said anti-Semitic things and he wanted to kill Jews, whatever. I didn't read it all, but the media says he has all these Bekennerschreiben, these memos, where he states what he wants with this attack. And apparently he's denying the Holocaust, and he's saying all kinds of anti-Semitic stuff. And this is taken for justification that he wanted to kill all these Jews. But the fact is that he didn't enter the synagogue. He didn't manage to get inside. I don't know, he shut the door, but the door didn't break, whatever, I don't know. And instead he walked around in front of the synagogue and he killed one German woman that was walking past. And then he entered a kebab shop and killed a German person inside the kebab shop, a German customer of the kebab store. So the fact is that 2 Germans were killed in a violent attack, in a gun crime in front of a synagogue. And the media is now going crazy about anti-Semitism, about anti-Semitic attacks, right-wing extremist attacks, right-wing violence, and they say the anti-Semitic hate crimes have risen 20%, and all this kind of stuff. The Jews are in danger in Germany again, the Fourth Reich is starting now, the National Socialists are rising, and all this kind of crap. And because he said in all these papers that he wanted to kill these Jews in the synagogue, he is now basically sued for wanting to kill Jews. In the media he is portrayed as a person who wanted to kill Jews, and this is his crime. His crime in all the official publications is that he wanted to kill Jews. His crime is not that he killed 2 Germans, that he actually killed 2 Germans. That's not his crime. Maybe in the process, in his court case, he will be sentenced also for killing these 2 Germans. But the main issue in the media about his court case will be his anti-Semitic attack. But he didn't do an anti-Semitic attack. He damaged the property of the synagogue, the door. That is damage, But he killed 2 German people. So when I think about this, in front of the court, in front of the law, it does not matter what you want. It only matters what you actually did. If I rob a bank and I say beforehand, I write a paper, and I say, one day before the bank, I put the date on there, one day before the bank robbery, I write it down. I don't want to take this money. I want to save the children, I want to do something nice, or let's do something else. let's say I write down, I want to steal the car. And then next day I go into the bank and I rob the bank, 50 million. And then I'm caught, and they will not prosecute me for wanting to steal that car. They will prosecute me for having stolen money from the bank. This is my crime. It is not relevant what I want. It's relevant what I do in front of the court system, in front of the law. So the fact stands. There was an anti-German attack, not an anti-Semitic attack. Statistically, the synagogue has become a more dangerous place for Germans. If I walk in front of a synagogue now, the statistical chance of me getting shot has now risen to the people shot, the German persons shot in front of a synagogue have risen by 2. That increases my statistical chance of dying as a German in front of a synagogue. That's just a fact. That's a logical, statistical fact. And not only were German people killed, German actual living beings are now dead. But that's not the issue. It's the same with the Chemnitz. Earlier this year, there was this huge riot in Chemnitz where they said in the media, and it was huge in the media everywhere, it was like pogroms, anti-migrant pogroms in Chemnitz, you know, right-wing extremists are rushing through the streets chasing migrants, you know. And everybody who, when I saw it the first time, was like, what's going on, really? And there was nothing about the actual reason why this happened, and it's not clear if this actually happened. The fact is there was a big manifestation, a big demonstration of Germans against migrant policy, against mass immigration. And this big demonstration was sparked by the killing of Germans. So there were Germans, I think 1 or even 2 Germans were killed by migrants. And this sparked a demonstration against the state policy, and this demonstration was cracked down by police, by riot police. And the whole event was publicized as an anti-migrant pogrom, basically. The issue was not that 2 Germans were killed. This was not in the media. Nobody cared. And the same here. Nobody talks about 2 Germans are shot. Everybody talks about anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic attacks in Germany. And, you know, the biggest comedians in Germany, Joko and Klaas, I heard that they cancelled their show live. They cancelled their show live. To you know, commemorate, to say they feel sorry for this attack, you know. And since the migrant crisis, since 2015, hundreds, if not thousands of Germans have been killed brutally, violently in the streets, and nobody cared. No politician ever stood up and apologized or, you know, expressed their feelings. Maybe a little bit, maybe sometimes here and there, you know, but not in this kind of manner. Just a couple of weeks ago, a migrant kicked a boy and his mother onto the train tracks, and the boy was run over by a train. The mother barely survived. Nobody cared. Joko and Klaas did not cancel the show. You know, it's just insane in what kind of country we live now. It's so insane. And again, I said that in my last video. What happened, even if this guy had killed some random Jewish people? That would be a violent crime. That would be a tasteless and horrible murder. You know, absolutely horrific, but that would not be terrorism. That would be just pointless slaughter. Bloodlust. I don't know how you should call it. A despicable crime, but that's not terrorism. Terrorism is when you kill important people. It is a kind of warfare. Killing random people is not terrorism. And the people, the alleged perpetrators, who are always part of a big nationalistic movement, they never benefit from this. They will now again crack down on patriotic people. They will censor the internet more. They will brainwash us even more. They will shove down the anti-racism even more down our throats every day. You know, they will cut down the rights of Germans even more. And when they say that 20% of anti-Semitic, the anti-Semitic crimes have risen 20%, they never talk about anti-German crimes, because you cannot commit crimes against Germans. In our law system, it's not considered a crime to do something against Germans, to say something against the German people, to hate on them, to write. If I write on the wall, Bomber Harris, do it again, which the leftists always do. It's like a meme. It's a leftist meme. They write it everywhere in the leftist quarters. And that's not a hate crime. Some time ago, there was a comedian who called for the bombardment of the napalm bombardment of Chemnitz because there were so many vile racists there. She called for the extermination of the people of Chemnitz in a comedy show. That's not a hate crime. It was broadcast to the whole nation. Nobody cares. And why is this not terrorism? Because the alleged terrorist group does not benefit from this action. A terrorist group benefits when they eliminate the leading heads of their opposition. That's terrorism. It has been done in Cuba. In the communist revolution in Cuba, this was done. There was guerrilla warfare in the mountains, led by El Comandante Che Guevara. And there was terrorist warfare in the cities, where insurgents and underground groups planted bombs and killed, assassinated, police captains and politicians and administrators, government officials. The same happened in the communist uprising in Russia. A German diplomat was killed in 1938 in Paris by a Jewish person, Herschel Greenspan. That was a terrorist attack. This person killed an important person, an important representative of Germany. And I haven't even looked too deeply into it. The information that you can find in Wikipedia is very superficial, but you should look into this. How important was this diplomat? You could argue, could the Second World War have been prevented if this diplomat had lived? Was his mission maybe a mission of peace? Establish better relations with France? Was that his mission? I don't know. Fact is, he was not some random dude in a cafe or in a temple. He was an important political person, an important, he was killed. Yitzhak Rabin was the minister president of Israel, and his policy was a policy of peace between Palestinians and Jews and Israelis. He was killed by a Jewish extremist. That is terrorism, because the ultra-Orthodox, fanatical, right-wing Jews in Israel, they don't want any reconciliation with the Palestinians. They want them gone completely. Communism was very popular among Jews in Russia, and many of the communist assassins were Jews. The person who killed the royal family of Russia the Romanovs, was a Jew. The leading people in the Cheka, in the Bolshevik secret police, which murdered millions of Russians, the leading figures were Jews. And at that point they already had the power in the state, and you cannot call it terrorism anymore. At that point it's called terror, state terror. But before they had the power, before the Bolsheviks had the power in Russia, there was terrorism, where leading government officials were killed on a regular basis by terrorists. And this is terrorism. It benefits the terrorist party because it eliminates the leading intellectuals, the leaders of their opposition, of their enemy. The so-called terrorism that we see today benefits not the people who allegedly perpetrate these crimes. It benefits the people who are already in power, because it justifies more censorship, more tyranny, more central state, more imperialism, more media propaganda, more removals of civil rights and freedoms. That's not terrorism, that's terror. That's state terror. It benefits the people already in power, not the revolution, not the rebellion. So to state it again, finally, at the end, 2 Germans were killed in front of a synagogue in my hometown. And the media says it is an anti-Semitic attack. I, as a German, I walk in front of a synagogue in Germany and I am shot to death. And that's an anti-Semitic attack. If I write a manifesto where I say I want to save the planet, and then I go to Paris and I kill 2 French people in front of a baguette store, in front of a bakery, the media will then portray me as the savior of humankind. Because that's what I wrote in my manifesto, right? I'm the savior of humankind. You know? Doesn't matter what I actually did. Only matters what I wanted, right?